actually something that we need to address before we adjourn. I believe that it's fair to our county staff, in particular our planning staff, to have more clarity from you regarding the directive that you issued earlier this afternoon. And I went back and looked at your directive related to the commercial and industrial, and that was specific to the development area. So I think in all fairness, we shouldn't put county staff in a position where they're not real sure what your intent is. And given this is such a significant monumental directive, it'd be, let's compare it to, I don't think we would govern by directive with, dismantling a big piece of social services department. So I think it's fair to protect county staff from getting in the middle of a political debate among us, to know exactly what your intent is. Are you talking about sewer in the rural crescent? Are you talking about specifically commercial and industrial anywhere in the rural crescent? Are you talking about higher residential density in the rural crescent? I think it's fair to them that you need to be specific so they're not confused and wondering what exactly they're being directed to study.
So, Ms. Mann, did you write down the directive as you have it, or were you just going to go back and listen to it? You're probably just going to go back.
It was a resolution, and I would have relied on the planning department to give me.
Well,
so in that case, I'll just say that my directive, the intent of my directive and the resolution was to make sure that the planning department look at the entire county and all the options for different land throughout the county. These people are planners for a reason. I want them to take a comprehensive look during our comprehensive plan of all the land in the county regarding the different uses and what they think would be good without any constraints on them.
Well, Madam Chair, no offense, but I don't think you have a full understanding of what the comprehensive plan, the chapters, did you know that there's a chapter specific to the sewer policy?
Yes,
So,
I do.
But that hasn't, ma'am, that hasn't been initiated. You can't just give directives about the comp plan and expect county staff.
So over the next week, I'll work with county staff and I'll make sure they understand what I'm talking about. How's that?
Well,
we're good.
Well, no. I mean, the vote has already happened, so the cat's out of the bag. It's too late. The vote has already happened, but I think you need to be specifically clear and to the public tonight too, so that people know, including county staff, what your intent is. Do you want to take sewer out into the rural area? Are you looking at higher residential densities? Because the rural preservation study was specific, and you made it clear earlier today that you do not want the rural preservation study to interface with this directive that you're giving. So you need to be crystal clear on exactly what you want county staff to study, and it's not fair to the planning department to be confused and wonder exactly what they're meant to study. There's different chapters of the comprehensive plan, and right now they're only studying the land use chapter and the mobility chapter, and those are within the development area.
The land use chapter and the mobility are throughout the entire county. The land use chapter, do you understand the land use chapter is the entire county, not just the development area?
Do you know that the county staff is, with the land use chapter, they are looking at the development area because the rural area was studied through a preservation consultant study, which the board is considering adopting 3 different new ordinances. So, and I already asked you earlier today if you were going to include the rural preservation as part of your directive, and you said no.
The rural.
So the bottom line is Chair Wheeler, do you have any intent on preserving the rural area? Because if you want to extend sewer out there with commercial and industrial uses, you might as well just publicly admit that you want to pave over the rural crescent and develop it.
Supervisor Lawson, you're out of line,
Supervisor
Lawson. Supervisor Lawson, once again, you need to calm down.
No,
this is the holistic. This is the holistic view of the county, and I think I know this is something that you want to talk about. I honestly believe that it's very clear to the planning department to understand how to take a holistic look. And
It's
if they're
not, Madam Chair. I talked to Deputy Horner out in the atrium earlier, and frankly, it's not fair to her because she's gonna have to direct her staff, and when she doesn't know what your intent is, that's not fair to her.
I'll talk to Deputy Horner myself. Thank you.
Well, you gave a directive publicly. I think it's only fair that right now, while we're in the public forum, that you be clear, not just with Deputy Horner and the planning staff, but with the public.
So obviously you're asking
You
me
don't
to
get
go
to
into
govern behind closed doors
Oh,
and
never.
talk one-on-one with staff when you
Super-
haven't, when you gave this directive. Listen, governing by
Supervisor
directive.
Lawson, I'm trying to be patient.
I
really
am
am
too.
trying,
I am trying to
and-
be patient, and I'm tired of the semantics of you talking and dancing and cliches and not being specifically clear on what your intent is. I'm just trying to get transparency out of you.
So I think it was clear when I gave the directive that we should look at all, even in the rural area, the directive said to look at commercial and industrial uses in all areas of the county, even outside the development area. That was pretty
No,
clear.
actually, that's not what is on the spreadsheet. I just pulled it up, the directive. I tell you what, you certainly didn't make it clear that night that you wanted commercial and industrial out in the rural area, because I guarantee you, the developers and the data centers would have been
Supervisor Lawson, I know it's going to be a long process. The comprehensive plan is a long process. We're just at the beginning of it. They actually haven't started fleshing out some of those details. And all I'm asking is that they take a comprehensive look at the county and not be bound. These are planners, people who do this for a living. Let's talk about how they think we could preserve area or cluster housing by bringing in sewer and preserve open space for people. I mean, I've talked a lot about this, and I don't think we're going to adjudicate this tonight.
Well,
I don't think it's the place to adjudicate.
And absolutely, this is the public forum. We're the governing body. This is absolutely the place to adjudicate
between you and I,
you can't adjudicate it behind closed doors.
Of course not.
Well, then I don't know why you don't want to discuss it here. Why don't you want to answer my questions for clarity's sake?
I feel like I keep answering your question and you don't hear me.
You're not answering my question because, frankly, I don't think you understand that there's other components of the comprehensive plan that would have to be initiated to get to where you're going, and you can't just do that by directive.
The directive was...
And not to mention, I'm trying to help county staff so they don't get in the middle of this confusion and a very charged policy debate. So I just simply thought, for county staff's sake, that you needed to be more clear on, like I said, what are you looking to
I will
do?
commit to talking to county staff and see if I can clarify what I'm talking about, and if I need to come back, I will.
Fine, but it's already out, so plan on me making it very clear what I think your intent is, because you're not being clear right now, so I'm left to get in your head, and what I think you have intentions of doing is paving over the rural crescent with data centers, distribution centers, higher density housing with sewer lines. So in all fairness, if you don't want me out in the public,
I hope that narrative doesn't get out there that I want to pave over the rural area.
I guarantee it's going to get out there.
Well,
by
only if you
tomorrow.
propagate it,
I
because that is not my intent.
Unless you give clarity to staff with the directive right now, then you leave me no other option.
I will discuss it with staff. If they're unclear, I will try to clarify it. If I need to come back and clarify it, I will.
I think you should have had conversations with the planning experts before you fired off this directive. That's the problem. You should have talked to the experts in the planning department before you fired off the directive.
Call for the vote, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Madden, can you call the roll, please?
Supervisor Bodie?
Aye.
Supervisor Bailey?
Aye.
Supervisor Angry?
Aye.
Supervisor Franklin?
Aye.
Supervisor Lawson?
Aye.
Supervisor Vega?
Aye.